Do think that it's important to consider the fact that this quote unquote peace deal that he's offering means that Zelenskyy essentially cedes his country to Russia. And no one has explained what the sudden change in the last couple of weeks and the way that Donald Trump is talking about Ukraine and Zelenskyy is spurred by. He didn't used to call Zelenskyy a dictator. He didn't used to say that his people hated him. He didn't used to say he had a 4% approval rating. He didn't used to say any of the total blasphemy that he's been throwing out there the last few weeks. Elon Musk also on Twitter a couple days ago saying, I agree, to someone who said that the U.S. should get out of NATO and the UN. These are all things that Putin wants to hear. And you know that because his own spokesman, Peskov, said as much, said the rapidly changing U.S. foreign policy configurations largely coincides with our vision. Dmitry Medvedev, the insolent pig about Zelenskyy, finally got a proper slapdown in the Oval Office. Trump is right. The Kyiv regime is gambling with World War III. So if you are satisfying someone that we all agree is a dictator and authoritarian to that level, don't you think maybe the methods aren't that great? And that's not to say that we don't need to come to the table and say, this is what our peace plan is. These are the territorial lines that we are comfortable with. No one thinks that he's going back to a pre-2014 era. Zelenskyy himself doesn't think that. He was speaking, I heard it, Tommy Tuberville was on TV today saying, this is about what Putin and Donald Trump want. This doesn't have to do with Zelenskyy. But guess what? There are millions of Ukrainians who would beg to differ. No, they're not dead.
They don't have a future with him. They do not have a future with Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy is dependent upon us.
Do you guys get what you're saying? You're just saying that a sovereign country. Yes, I do. Besides the blasphemy word, which maybe I shouldn't have used, I know exactly what I was saying.
It's time for Ukraine to start building and stop the killing.
To become part of Russia again.
Nobody's making it part of Russia.
You're telling them you can't be part of NATO. You're telling them you don't get your territory back.
No, because that was agreed upon decades ago. And every decade they move closer and closer to Russia, NATO has. And the Crimea and everything else is a response to NATO.
For Russia. NATO encroaching on them.